Hey, we got Melissa and Hot Apple Pies in here today. Welcome. Um, you guys can hear me, right? Mic's working properly. I haven't used this setup in a while, so hopefully it is. But trying to get my glasses up higher so I can actually read the chat. um, you hear me? Excellent. This camera's a bit of a weird angle. Hold on, let me try and fix it. Yeah, that's a bit better. All right, so what the heck is a cloudberry? It's something similar to a salmonberry if you have those where you live. It's a Scandinavian variant, as far as I can tell. Anyway, we should probably bring out the stuff, right? Bring it over. Well, actually, no. What do we need to do first, man? It's been a while since I've done this. So technically, I cleaned some of that stuff, and I already got like the sanitization liquid ready to go. So I'm not going to be mixing that on stream today, at least. Um, but yeah, I guess maybe a quick overview of what we're doing here. So hello and welcome everyone, whether you're using chat at the moment or not. I don't remember when I started this. Some months ago. I think it might have been in December. I have my notes over there somewhere so I can check it at some point. But I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it was in December. And so it's been sitting around in secondary or conditioning or secondary fermentation, whatever you want to call it, for a while now. That's after basically the fermentation is more or less done. And it's just kind of sitting there and getting better essentially and having like all the dead yeast fall out and that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the longer it sits there, technically, the better. You know, after a certain point, it's kind of redundant or possibly even bad. But it can sit in there for a very long time and it just kind of gets theoretically better. And I have not tasted it or really checked up too much on it in quite some time. So we're just going to bring it out here and see what it's doing. I'm like 95% certain it's going to be ready to bottle. I don't know what else there would be to do with it. So yeah, that's kind of the plan. We're going to start with the wine today. Yeah, let's start with the wine because the cloudberry is more exciting. So we do the more exciting thing second, right? That's how these things work. Well, I don't know, but maybe the wine will be better. We'll see. I'm going to bring it over here and we'll get started. All right, there we have it there. So I think I transferred this like twice, maybe. I don't remember how many times. Basically, I'm noticing that there's not very much. There's like a little bit of sediment at the bottom, and not very much. So I think I already transferred it once, or did just a really good job of transferring it the first time around. Can't remember which. But this should make about 4.5 bottles. Looking at the amount there, so that should be pretty good. Hopefully it's tasty. We'll see. I'm also going to have to see whether or not this will require degassing. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. All right, so what's the process here? Well, let's go ahead and actually, if I'm standing over in the corner here, maybe I should move the camera over a bit, like a little bit more. Because you don't need to see like the wall or anything, right? Yeah, there we go. That's probably better. Now you can see the garbage can. Wonderful. Um, yeah, anything I do over here now you guys, okay, that's probably better. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and start cleaning some stuff up here. So we're gonna need this, the hydrometer. I don't really need to take a reading, but it's always nice to know. By the way, you guys can hear me if I'm all the way back here, right? Because I'm quite a ways from the camera, but I think it worked last time, so presumably you guys can still hear me. I'm talking slightly louder than I normally would in like standard circumstances, so. should have cleaned some of these bottles first because I'm definitely going to be using them, and I want like as little liquid in them as possible when I go to. Well, I don't know. We'll do that later. It's fine. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need this thing too. Turkey baster. Make sure everything is clean, because you know we're at the final stage here, so it'd be a shame to ruin anything at this point. That said, it's the alcohol content is high enough that nothing should really get ruined, but you know, may as well be proper about it to the end, right? Okay. Probably gonna need this stir stick, so let's go ahead and just kind of wash this out in advance. There we go. There. All right. I might need this thing. I don't know. Depends if we need an extra step in here. So, no, you know what? Well, I'm gonna wash it anyway. I'll decide when we get to that point. I may or may not use this extra step here. Making sure all the sides are completely sanitized here. Yeah. So this is a 4-liter box thing. Yeah, it's used to actually store dry goods, but I couldn't find a proper picture that was that large at the time. So should probably look for an actual picture. But for the time being, this is doing a sufficient job. It's a temporary holding vessel for an in-between step if I need it. Alright, good enough for now. Let's just move this over here to dry. Okay, now let's, I guess we get to this step here. Make sure this thing is totally dry. I'm going to shake it out a bit. Maybe I should get my hair a little. I'm constantly like, because I got to look down a lot, so I may as well just tie my hair back. Hello, Super Moose. Well, it'd be illegal if I had a distillery, so it's not quite that. You know what I'm gonna? No, you know I just remembered something. I'll be right back. I have very little cause to use these things anymore, so I forget they exist. The stuff that holds my hair back. Anyway, let's get this thing out of here. Now, this has not been opened in like, I feel like 2 months. So hopefully this hasn't turned into vinegar in the meantime. Otherwise we have 4 liters of vinegar, which is, you know, still useful, I guess, but not as pleasant as wine. Smells very wineful. I think we're good. Okay, I'm going to assemble the turkey baster so that I can safely extract liquid without stirring it around too much here. Just bottling the mead and the wine. I don't have anything. Well, I technically have stuff I could make alcohol with, but it wouldn't be very good. I'm thinking the next thing I might make is a grape cider. Like a sparkling kind of thing. Nice to have something fizzy. This is just taking a hydrometer reading right now, or I will be in a second here. Also, this is good to get a taste, but wow, this stuff's really clear. I'll show you guys in a minute. I'm gonna need a little bit more. Okay, am I going to need this any further for the time being? I don't think I do, right? Yeah, so this can just go into the wash now. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need a cup to get a tasting of this thing. Shot glass, why not? Alright, anyway, first things first, hydrometer reading. What are we doing here? Oh damn, this thing kept going. This absolutely kept fermenting when I left it alone. This is 1.002. This is the, if I finish it like this will be the driest thing I've ever made. Doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. We'll see. It smells very fruity. Just like grapes. Wow, it's actually still quite effervescent. Interesting. It didn't like degas at all. I'm gonna have to manually do that. Let's try a little bit more. For something this dry, this is not bad. Now, again, not to say dry white wines are terrible. I just normally don't like them, but this is not bad. I just have to, again, degas it because it kind of has like that. It goes over the tongue and it's tingly more than anything, so it's almost like a pop that's gone a bit flat, which I realize it sounds a bit gross, but it's not bad. It's just, it's a bit weird. So, but I can take that out manually very easily. Still has a note of bitterness, which I think is from the tea I used, which is interesting. It's also a bit hard to tell. I shouldn't have done this, but I wanted to brush my teeth earlier because I think there's something weird going on with my gums over here. But it's also kind of messing with the flavor a little bit. I'm just thinking. Because that slight hint of bitterness, it's not like horrible or bad or anything, it's just not my favorite flavor. I'm just wondering if I could do something to get rid of it specifically. The fact that this kept fermenting is really interesting too. It didn't go totally dry though, meaning the yeast is probably just done with whatever it's going to do. I could theoretically sweeten it a tiny bit and basically cancel that bitterness out if I really wanted to during the degassing process. I'm almost certain if I add a little more sugar, it will not restart any kind of fermentation process whatsoever, especially given that there is like no yeast in there, or there will be basically no yeast in there. And it's already It's a bit hard to tell the actual alcohol content because I added sugar water at the end to fill this up and also deal with, because I wanted to back sweeten it a bit. You know, I think I'm going to do that. We're going to do a bit of an experiment here. I'm going to add sugar during the degassing process. Not very much, just a little bit. Which means the easiest way to do this is going to be to, alright, well, let's get this thing over here. Move this guy over here, move this out of the way there. first? No, we do it later. I still haven't decided how I want to do that yet. I'm still thinking. It's a bit of a deliberation process going on here. Alright, that's fine. It can go out of the way now. Now what I need is the auto siphon. Okay, so I basically pre-washed this, so I'm not going to take 20 years wash. Whoa, actually, hold on a second. Forgot to rinse this thing out. This one's easy though. This takes like 10 seconds. Well, 30 seconds technically. But... Get as much of the water out of there as possible. Hello, Dark Magnetic Storm. What is that, kid? I'm not doing that stuff's too much of a pain in the ass to make. That's like an extra step. Alright, so just maybe do a quick rinsing of this here again. Just not, won't take too much time, but just a quick rinsing. There we go. Clean up over there. Now, in order to attach this to this, I need to use hot water. So I gotta go over to the sink. I'll be right back. It'll take 30 seconds. So I mentioned this again. I mentioned this before, but yeah, in order to attach this thing to this thing here, this plastic needs to become softer. So I need to run it under hot water. So good. Well, I can also just buy new Newodizaka, so. Alright, got it on. Get all that excess liquid out of there. It doesn't really matter if there's a bit in there, but you know, the less iodine water and the finished product, presumably the better. Okay, so now we just go ahead and transfer. Oh, wait, I need a pot. Hold on. Really, well, can I put it down at this stage? Is this going to sit here? Like falling over? It looks like it'll hold. I think we're good. This pot won't work. Minor problem. The pot I normally use to stand on things or sit on top of things is occupied with soup. I'll have to find something else to sit the thing down on. Like, there has to be something in the house. You could technically transfer the bucket or the liquid in that bucket to something else, like one of those pots over there. I don't really want to use the pots for that. I'll check the other room. I'll be right back. Same auto siphon? Yeah, this was like $15 or something, so. Can't really find anything, so today we're going to do an alternative method here, where instead of elevating that, we're going to lower this. One issue is this is not like the most stable surface, so can I find like a flat thing to put something on? Cutting board? Use a cutting board. Okay, that's a bit better. I'm going to move this guy over here and this down here. Alright, we have siphoning. Now I gotta like lean down quite a ways. See what the hell is going on here. This is a bit awkward, so for a moment here I'm not gonna be talking too much. I'll see you guys in a second. Until I guess I get the hang of it. Alright, that's probably fine. There we go. Height differences, yeah, this is enough. I think the height difference is actually, well, it's about the same as if I was using a pot maybe. So, should work right until the end. Getting towards the bottom here, so I gotta tilt the thing to get as much of the liquid as possible without disturbing that very thin layer of lees at the bottom, which is all the, I assume it's all dead yeast at this point. Some of it could be alive. I'd prefer if it wasn't, but you never know. Alright, there we go, pretty good. Now, I'm going to need this thing again later, so I'm just going to leave it in there, I guess. Just cram the tubing in there so it stays put. Okay, there we go, we got this. Now, we move our gallon of wine up here. How are we doing? Looking pretty clear. Can you guys see how clear that is from here? Probably not, but maybe you get a relative idea. What is the cheapest? Yeah, that's what I did. I mean, it doesn't really matter, so as far as I can tell. Okay. I'm going to try degassing it totally first. Yeah, I'm going to degas it first and see how the flavor is. Because that will actually change the flavor quite a bit. This might take a while because it was a lot more effervescent than I expected it to be. So I'm just getting all the CO2, the remnant CO2 out of here, basically. Because it's like slightly fizzy. And it really just doesn't add very much to it. If anything, it kind of detracts from it. It'd be a bit easier again if I had like a proper pitcher, like an actual round one, and a like a cylindrical one, and I'm assuming like an actual degassing wand would make this a bit easier too. But yeah, those things you gotta buy. So, well, I mean, I would have bought a rectangular pitcher, but I couldn't find one, like I said, large enough at the time. So. have known that finding a 4-liter pitcher would have been a difficult thing. Apparently the actual purpose of this thing I'm using right now is some kind of dry goods container. So you put like cereal and shit in this, I guess. I don't know. Rice, maybe? Mm-hmm. Hello, Comic. Wait, what's a yes? What's going on? Oh, also, that does remind me. If anyone happens to like resubscribe or do anything of that nature, I can't see it like now. When I go back to my computer, I'll see it. So just I'm not like intentionally ignoring things or being rude. So I can't really see it at the moment. So if anyone wants to let me know if they'd like resubscribe or anything along those lines, just like spam. Feel free to spam it in chat, and then I'll see it. But looks good. I'm hoping it's good. We're currently in the process of just putting the finishing touches on it. So use a smaller one for my rice. I just leave my rice in like giant rice bags. I don't really have a use for this outside of what I'm doing here. I guess I could fill it with, I don't know, dried beans or something. So this, you guys can probably see it fizzing up a bit down there. I don't know if you guys can get the audio, but yeah, it still fizzes up. So long as it's fizzing up, I'll probably keep spinning this a little bit, or stirring it. And if this is an issue with the wine here, I suspect we're going to run into a similar thing with the mead, but we'll see. It's a different brew, so. To me, it kind of, I don't know, but it seems like if you do it like rather vigorously in a short burst, let it fizz up, let things settle again, and do it again, it seems to work better than just continuous, but I'm not sure. Okay, might be worth small taste test now. Definitely smells fruitier than it used to. It's stirring it around definitely kind of agitated that kind of, you know, the fruitiness of it. Yeah, already the effervescence is definitely fading. Still has that slightly bitter bite that I don't quite know the source of. It's not a bad thing. It's just unusual. And again, I don't know. Well, it would have to come from the tea, I think. The tea specific I use. Because I've been noticing that is a bit more pronounced the last few brews I've done that I used a very specific tea for. I think it was English breakfast. Would an egg beater work? This thing is too narrow for that, I think. If I had a larger thing, probably, but yeah. So I'm going to add just a little bit of sugar, I think. How much do I want to add? Maybe like 2 tablespoons. I don't want to add too much. Well, maybe 1 tablespoon per bottle. So I expect to make about 4 bottles. 4 tablespoons ought to do the trick. How did I come to that conclusion? Entirely arbitrarily. They were more like half teaspoon, so ultimately it was probably close to like 3. Like I said, I don't exactly want this sweet. I just kind of want to take up the bitter edge just a little bit. Like I said, I'm fairly confident this is not going to start re-fermenting because there's basically no yeast left in here. It's already something of around 13% alcohol, and it went dry. Well, it didn't quite go dry. It was sitting there with a tiny bit of sugar that still could have remained fermented for like over a month, and I didn't do it. So getting a workout here. Maybe I really should buy one of those degassing wands. Just cut down on the goddamn work here. All right, let's taste it again. Would it be better if it just be, whatever, that's fine. Part of the problem is every time I do that, like the smell is always off because I'm getting a bit of iodine in there every time. The answer would be just leave it alone for a while, but I'm gonna do this. Well, yeah, I'm gonna do this. No, it's fine. Oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah, the effervescence is basically gone. That tiny bit of sugar I added just kind of took off that, again, the bitter bite, which again I'm guessing is coming from that tea, which again it's not horrible, but I'll just not use that tea from now on. I think I'll use a different one. I mean, I'm out of it anyway. I brewed this so long ago. I ran out of that tea a long time ago because I drank it normally like tea, but well, it's not bad. Again, despite the fact my palate's a bit messed up because I used mouthwash about an hour. It's over an hour ago, but still, it kind of messes with things a bit. Anyway, I'll be right back, and then we're going to properly bottle this, I think. It should be still holding that 15%. I watered it back down to fill up the thing, and then it just turned into more alcohol. Alright, we'll do this another one final stir here. Get any remaining CO2 out of here. Okay, I think we're good. Now the process of getting this stuff into these bottles. So let's select 4 bottles that we want to put this in. One, 2, 3, 4, And extra small overflow bottle. I think, well, we'll see. I might need a, well, yeah, I'm going to be ready to use this one or a large one depending on what we need. Alright, so that's the case. What I need to do now is actually wash these bottles. I forgot to do that. This won't take long. We'll just rinse these out real quick in the sanitization fluid, liquid, whatever you want to call it. Don't need to take too long doing this. Okay, let's move all this stuff out of the way so I got a bit of room to place the bottles here. So again, even though this is, you know, this could be anywhere, I'm going to say this is anywhere between 12 and 14%. So, you know, we don't need to be super thorough about this, but it's better to have clean bottles than that, right? So. Finish it off by pouring it a little bit more in with this guy. There we go. Move that out of the way. The cap should be relatively clean now. Get that out of the way there. So bottle number 3 going in now. There you have it. A little bit more. Top the thing up. Okay, we look pretty good. Last big bottle, then we just have one small bottle and be good to go. Forgot to put that in there. Okay. So that's cap number 2, bottle number 2. This one goes with that, so that one should be fine now. Whatever. We'll let the cap sit in there an extra 40 seconds or something. Get it out of the way. That's enough for both caps. That goes there, that goes there. Okay, tiny bit more liquid, fill this thing up. Okay, last bottle, the tiny overflow just in case bottle. Okay, you go there. Thing is sufficiently sanitized. Let's get it out of there. That's the cap. Okay, that's the last bottle. Alright, should be good now. Clean. Let's get the last bits of liquid out of there. Don't need to get everything out, but you know, the more we get out the better, obviously. If it doesn't smell like iodine anymore, I am content with it more or less. So we're checking each bottle. I leave them just sitting here upside down. The problem with that is they're not stable enough, and I don't have like a, you know those bottle holder things? I don't have anything like that, so. Clear ones are a bit easier to see just how dry they are. So for example, this one's still getting a little bit of drippage out of there, so. Small one seems to be good. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to prep this thing. So I'm going to get this out of the way. Actually, you know what I should do? Move anything out of the way that can be knocked over. Because I'm still going to need this for a minute, like probably in about 10 minutes. There we go. Now, for this thing, so we're going to quickly rinse part of this. Not the whole thing, because this is just, you know, this was used to transfer wine earlier, right? It's just going to transfer wine again. The main thing is I need to get another part on here, the end of it, the bottling wand. So, actually at this point, now we can, I can actually take the cap off because there's no more yeast at the bottom to worry about. So I'll bring it over. So this thing used to have like this little pot, like this cap thing on there. This is designed to keep like solids and to a lesser extent, well not to a lesser, but basically like yeast and like if there's solids inside the brew, like fruit or whatever, you know, keep most of it out of there. Now we don't need to worry about it, so I just take the cap off. Sky fruit? Why does that, what the hell is sky fruit? Why does that sound familiar? Also, hello, Mike, by the way. Alright, so this is the bottling wand. We'll quickly explain this. Is that just another name for Cloudberry? Or, yes, this is the bottling wand. This little thing, see this knobby thing, knobby thing at the top? It goes in and out of there, so see if I do this. Yeah, see now it's back in there. This means liquid doesn't come out. Or I don't know, when it's pressed in it means liquid will come out. When it's out it means liquid won't come out. It's just kind of a little stopper. It makes bottling, when you're, you know, putting liquid in bottles easier because you'll press it down to the bottom of the bottle, it'll press the thing, liquid will come out, then you pull it up. It'll stop pouring so you can get the, you know, the thing to the next bottle without it spilling everywhere. You're just being typical? Okay, alright. That's fine too, I just, you know, I wanted to make sure. Oh right, of course. Why am I going over here? Same thing as earlier. This thing needs to be softened under very, very hot water so I can fit it onto this thing, because otherwise they don't actually fit. Alright, there we go. We have a fit. Now, we can transfer this to some bottles, but I want to stir it up one more time just to make sure. As I did do the somewhat unusual step of adding a tiny bit of sugar at the end to make sure anything is as completely dissolved. It should be, but you never know. Plus one last, extra little degassing at the end here. It still is fizzing a bit, so. Yeah, very, very strong white wine smell in here every time I stir that up, which is to be expected, but it smells like someone spilled wine in my kitchen, basically. Bottle number one. Bottle number two. Number three. Emergency bottle number four. You know what I just realized? Just in case we need a larger bottle, let me rinse this one out really quickly. Just have it on standby, because it'll be a pain in the ass to have to wash something while I'm in the middle of transferring. That tiny little bottle there is like, I think 375 milliliters, something like that. This one is 500, so it's not quite full wine bottle size. Actually, no, this is 450 actually. Yeah. We'll just leave that over there. Okay, so now, this is a bit on the sketchy side, but it should be okay. Move this guy over here. Bottling wand is set. Make sure everything is straight. Okay. Go right down to the bottom. Should we do this one? Alright, I think we're good. We got this. Bottle number one is going in nicely. You guys can't see this filling up, can you? But unfortunately, like I said today, the thing I normally rest the alcohol on top of is filled with soup, so can't exactly use it. Clear bottles are the easiest to bottle because I can see what's going on. So you let it fill up right up to the neck, and then pull the thing, because that's a bit, yeah, it's going to be a bit awkward. Hopefully nothing falls over, because if things start to fall over, I got to be like really quick to grab it. Because obviously the bottles, when they don't have any liquid in them, are not very heavy, so they're prone to just kind of falling over. So I guess I can just preemptively get a bottle ready down here, kind of thing. Is it still filling? Yeah, it's just a little bit slower. Okay, we're good. Bottle number 2 is almost done here. Towards the back so I don't accidentally hit it or something. Okay, that bottle is fine. Let's get the next bottle ready. Okay, good. I want to show you guys this color when I'm done here. It looks really nice. Still don't know exactly which bottle we're going to use at the end here, but fill up to the neck and then cancel. There we go. Okay. Last large bottle, theoretically anyway. Of course, it's the darkest one, so it's a little hard to see where the liquid is at, but that's okay. Let's get the final tiny bottle ready to go. And move this guy out of the way here. So that's bottle number 3. Off you go to the side so we don't knock it over. Yeah, I'm just trying to assess how big of a bottle we're gonna need for this last one here. Like, it's not a huge deal if it can't all fit in here. Yeah, I'm thinking I might have had to done a bigger bottle. Oh well. We'll see. It's gonna be close. I guess whatever's left over I'll just drink. So bottle's about halfway done here. And don't have too much liquid left, so this is going to be very close to perfect, I think. My spatial skills are telling me it's going to be slightly, well, it depends on how much the neck is going to hold here and whether I want to fill the neck up with liquid, which I don't think I really want to. I guess it's fine if I do, it doesn't really matter. No, because this one has a cork, so I can't actually fill it up to there. Alright, that goes there for now. Will that... No, that's not very stable at all. Okay, hold on a second. Can I rest up against something here for a minute? I just need a second. Okay, that's fine, I think. Bottle number 4, bottle number 5. There we go. Okay. I think I might have like a glass of wine left over. Do you have a wine glass sitting around? Enjoy that. Trying to get as much out of here as possible, because the rest will just go to waste down the sink if I don't get it out. Okay, there we go. I think it's fine now. Can I get this off of here without putting it under the sink? Maybe. Yep. And that can go there for now. This I will be using again in a minute. Well, in a little bit. So, where do I want to put this thing? I really do need a bigger bucket. I think this will be okay for the time being. It's a bit precarious, but I think it's alright. So this is how much liquid we have left over here. I'll bring it over. Just kind of concerned about that. We'll bring it over really quickly. Just a little bit in there like that. I'm going to put that in a wine glass in a second. We'll just have it. We don't need this anymore, but this is all that's left over. Is it? Whoops. Tiny bit of just shitty liquid at the bottom filled with yeast. See, there's actually a tiny layer of yeast at the bottom there. See that? That's just all mostly dead yeast. You could drink this, and I imagine it wouldn't kill you, but probably doesn't taste great. All right, now. So this isn't being stored in the long term, so you don't need to do anything fancy. So yeah, the reason we siphon things out is because I don't really want to oxygenate it. When I was stirring it around earlier, I don't think I was really getting too much oxygen in there. I was mostly getting CO2 out. But when I'm bottling it, I don't want air in there. So, which reminds me, I should probably screw the caps on here first before we drink. So hold on, we can celebrate in a minute. We gotta do first things first, right? And to fully seal this one over there, because this table's not super sturdy, if I press down on it, it might break. So. Okay, well, oh yeah, so the color. What's going to showcase it the best? Maybe this little bottle? See, look at that. Wonderfully translucent. Slightly bigger bottle. You can see my face through it. I get distorted, but... How many bottles? Four large bottles and one small bottle. So what is that? That's 1 liter. Wait, no, 2 liters. Wait, it's 1. Yeah, 1.5 liters per. So it's 3 liters. Basically 3.375-ish liters. I don't know what that is in freedom units. It's something around a gallon. And we have 1 slightly large glass of wine left over. Perfect. That's quite pleasant. That's actually, yeah, degassing it and adding that tiny little bit of sugar at the end. This is quite good. I actually really like this. Honestly, I'm wondering now, after the degassing, if this could have done without any of that sugar, because like the bitterness is just total, well, almost entirely gone. There's just like a hint, the slightest hint at like the kind of the back of your mouth of that bitterness that was there earlier, which, as opposed to being a slightly overpowering bittering like it was before, it just kind of adds sort of a complexity to it. Very good. Just a nice. Yeah, there's all kind. There's like that kind of wine astringency going on. Probably, actually, now it's maybe slightly sweeter than your average store-bought wine. Your average, what does that mean? But imagine like kind of your average wine you buy at a store. It's gonna be like a little bit sweeter than that. Not by a lot, but just a little bit. It's got still the hints of that early fruitiness before it had properly fermented and it was just grape juice. It's just still, that's lingering a little bit. I imagine that'll start to go away more and more, like if I leave these bottled for a very long time. And again, there's that just slight bitterness at the back. Yeah, no, if I'm in the mood for a wine, I would absolutely just sit there and drink this. You could give this to someone and it wouldn't be like, did someone make this in their kitchen? No, this seems like something proper you'd buy. So I'm relatively pleased how this turned out. This is my first white wine, incidentally. I've made a red wine before, as you guys remember, but... Did I... Wait, what? 1.75 liters is a handle? Now that you mentioned it, I feel like someone has said that at some point. It was probably an American or something, but... Well, thank you, Hot Apple Pies. I'm glad you appreciate the appearance of it. I would share some with you guys so we could all tell how good or bad is it, or, so that I could confirm that I'm not lying, or you could guys, you could tell that I'm full of shit or something, but... I don't know. You'd think, if someone's sitting there drinking or eating something, if it tastes bad, you'd be able to tell, right? I'm just genuinely pleased with this. All right, I'm gonna go put this away. Because I'll just sit here drinking this, and we'll never get anything done. Because I still need to deal with the mead. The main, because this is just like this was the appetizer. We got the main course to deal with in a second here. So I'll be back in a second, and then we'll deal with the mead. That's gonna be fun. the Cloudberry Mead. The color is slightly different, as one would expect, because it's made from honey and not grapes and some sugar. Well, I guess, no, it's made from honey and cloudberry jam. So I guess I don't know, I guess the jam probably had some sugar added to it, I don't know. But I need a Kleenex because my nose is runny and I don't want snot dribbling down into the alcohol. So I'll be right back. Also, I just realized that my alcohol cabinet is going to be somewhat full with this influx of wine and mead. And I still have 2 bottles of Methicillin, 1 bottle of the original mead, which I'm saving. I think I still have 1 small bottle of wine, I believe. And that's everything. So they're all going to get mixed up. And so I'm actually going to need to put labels on these things. I'll do that later, but long line artisanal merch. I mean, I'd sell these if I could, but it's illegal, so I don't. We had Dansk Mjord. Do they sell? Well, one of the reasons I like to make mead is because it's very difficult. I don't know where you live, but it's very difficult for me to find mead. If you go to specific wine stores, then you can sometimes find it in very specific stores. But most of the liquor stores around here are government liquor stores, and government liquor stores do not carry any mead as far as I can tell. So, the plant cam? Oh, the plant back there, yeah. Kind of a name? No, actually it was, it's not even really, or I don't know who owns it at this point. It was basically the landlord's tree thing, and their cats kept eating it, so they were like, can we give this to you guys down here so the cats don't eat it? And like, sure. And so it's been sitting here for years now, but like the Kleenex thing. Okay, I was like, oh yeah, I was actually gonna. That does remind me. I was going to talk about the ingredients of the mead. So the ingredients of this mead are honey, water, obviously, black tea. Did I put raisins in this one? There may or may not have been raisins in it. And cloudberry jam. I don't think there was anything else in there. I could check my notes. It doesn't really matter, but it was relatively basic. Straining the jam out of this was a pain in the ass, so I kind of never want to do it again. So Cloudberry Mead may never be made again. Well, we'll see. Depends on how good it is. If it's really good, I'll go through the trouble of it. But I found mead for the bottle of mead. The last time I bought mead was like, I want to say it was like 20 years ago or something. And, well, no, it wasn't that long. Maybe 15, 16 years ago. And back then it was about $30-ish a bottle. So, yeah, it's not exactly cheap. I have mead at the liquor store around me, but it's pretty expensive. There aren't cheap versions like you might find. Yeah. I don't know what that emote is supposed to indicate with the black tea. Do you approve of the black tea, or do you like? Do you not like black? I don't know. Anyway, let's get the wine out of the way. Where am I going to put it for now? I can put it. I'm going to go put it on the counter over there. Well, it's technically on top of a dishwasher, but I never use the dishwasher because I just wash everything by hand. So it's a counter. Let's get this stuff out of the way. All right. Oh, it was okay, I get it. So it was a thinking emote. The black tea, well, actually, what it does is it doesn't do that, but it adds tannins to it, and just kind of sort of tannins and a bit of astringency, and just kind of a mouth feel to it. Allegedly, I've never made this stuff without the black tea, so I don't really know what it's like. But it just apparently what it does is adds a bit of complexity to it. I should probably make a non-black tea added variant of something at some point, just so I have a frame of reference to compare to. But for example, that wine there, like that hint of bitterness at the back in the background that I was talking about, I think that comes from the black tea. So, granted, in that case, it was a little bit too much. So I think that was the specific black tea I was using because it was the English breakfast, which I think maybe added a bit too much. So if I were to change something about that wine, it would be that. Again, not that it makes it bad. It's just like it could be better, sort of thing. All right, so what's the process here? Let's start by, let's not open this yet, because I need to deal with this thing, this monstrosity here, which is just unwieldy and all over the place and blah, blah, blah. So let's clear the wine out of this thing. As tasty as that wine was, I don't really want it mixing with my mead. Like, it probably tastes fine, but you know. I can just sit there for the time being. It's amusing filling this thing up because it makes that. Well, hold on a second. Let me clean this first, and I'll explain it. You know those things that are filled with liquid? I forgot what they're called. Like you know, you turn them back and I don't know up. You turn them around like this, and then they're filled with liquid, and they go like, vroom, you know that noise? I forget what these things are called, but it makes that noise when you're cleaning it. Is that a slide whistle? What is a slide whistle? Something wand? Maybe. I want to try to use some Earl Grey mead, I think. The bergamot would be neat. Maybe. Maybe some kind of with a flavored mead? I don't know. What would you mix that flavor profile with? I don't know. Hey, Devil Dog, how you doing? You're just in time for the mead. We did the wine already, so we're getting started up on the mead now. Screamy sticks? Yeah, I don't know what they're called, but yeah, it seems like you guys know what I'm talking about. At least some of you do. Alright, let's get out of the way. Yeah, so I'm not going to have a small bottle for this, so... Okay, so in order to not have to wait for this at the end, like for the drying, like last time, I'm going to rinse these bottles out first. Also for this is going to be exciting. We're going to use the fancy bottle. This used to have tequila in it. So first non-bottled, standard bottle-shaped bottle we're going to be using. I think it's going to look quite nice. The thing with this bottle is, and the other, I actually have two of these things because I just had two old tequila bottles lying around for some reason. Probably the only two tequila bottles I've drank in the last, I don't know, 5-6 years. But anyway, these have like really pain in the ass stickers on here. Like the stickers themselves came out really easily compared to the other bottles. Normally it's just kind of a gluey mess and there's like it's paper and you got like scrape it all off. The stickers themselves came off really easy for this. The glue that they use on these bottles, I don't know what the hell it was, but it was a massive pain in the ass. It would get stuck to everything. I tried to scrape it off with like a knife or a spoon or something, and then it just gunked up the knife and the spoon. And I had to like leave it sitting in water for like 2 months or something, and it finally sort of came off. Eventually I bought a product called like Glue Be Gone or something like that, and that actually works for the other bottles too, so it's kind of an important tool. So that's why all these bottles are completely clean, and there's like no gluey gunky mess on all of these, despite the fact that I ripped the bottles off. Like try taking bottles off, or like the labels off of wine bottles and stuff. Some of them will come off somewhat clearly, but most of them, if not all of them, will have at least some gluey residue on them, which won't really wash off nicely. If you try and wash them with the sponge, it'll just gunk up the sponge and you have to throw the sponge off. Oh wait, so yeah, just basically I took a paintbrush and I painted on this Glue Be Gone stuff. And these bottles specifically took like multiple paintings of it. Because I don't know what the hell they were using on these things, but it was like super glue or something. It was really annoying. Maybe that's what it was, Goo Gone, yeah. I don't have just like a ton of razor blades lying around, so yeah, I just use a paintbrush and I would paint it on and I would rinse it off, and then I would paint on like soap and then it would be good. Most bottles, like one passing of that would be fine. This one took multiples. Anyway, what the hell? Oh yeah, we're washing books. Too much stuff on here. I need to make some room. Well, we're going to use this, so let's get that over there. You can go over here too. That'll be bottle number 1. Bottle number 2 is right here, of course. We're using this one. Yeah, there we go. And bottle number 3. Oh, there it is. I was like, where's the last bottle? So obviously I don't know entirely if this is done or not, but like I said, it's been sitting around for, I want to say 2 months, so it's got to be done. Because if it's not done, I'm rinsing these bottles out for no reason. But all right, there we go. Things should be more or less clean now. Dump that last bottle out, get a bit of excess liquid out. So you let the bottle sit for a while, let the liquid pool, then dump it, and you let it sit for a while again, it'll pool up again, it'll come out much more easily that way. So that's why I can just kind of dry these out in stages. Why does my nose actually... it's unpleasant. Okay, there we go. Alright, and this is, we already cleaned this one out. So this is our overflow bottle, I guess. Alright, and now we find out if this is in fact done or spoiled or who knows what, because like I said, I haven't opened this up in a while. Damn, one of these things just snapped off. I wonder if it's still good. It probably is. I think this is just... I don't think this has anything to do with the air tightness. I'll inspect it later. I don't actually need all my airlocks. I only have 3 containers and I have 4 airlocks, so if one of these just broke, it's not a big deal. I'll show you guys what I mean in a sec. I just gotta dry it out, or get the liquid out of here. So yeah, there's a thing here that connects these two. I think it's just for stability, but it's snapped off. I don't think that actually compromises the integrity of that little thing there, as far as I can tell, but should still be airtight. Anyway, how does this thing smell? That smells like Cloudberry jam. That's really like a sweet and pleasant smell. Like, it does not smell like alcohol at all. I'm wondering what it's going to taste like in a second here. I am surprised. I don't remember it smelling that much like the Cloudberry jam before. I remember it mainly just smelling like a mead, but anyway, this should be interesting. We'll see now in a sec what's all going on with this brew. in the hardware store and soak the bottle in it. I don't really have anywhere to soak bottles in. Like I said, that's why the Gooby Gone stuff. It's like it. Generally speaking, it's quite quick. Like for all the bottles, each bottle would take, I don't know, like 30 seconds to clean them with the stuff. The only problem, yeah, was those vodka or not vodka, the tequila bottles. Like they had some kind of like ridiculous glue on them. I don't know what it was, but what are you washing them to begin with? Oh, you mean like the bottles right now? That's just a mixture of Sanistar. It's basically a diluted iodine mixture, which I further dilute in more water. It's a food grade sanitization liquid. Have to deal with bugs like stuff is fermenting. They would consume my apartment if I tried this. But yeah, no problem. That's what I'm here for, answering questions. No. Maybe if I lived in like the East Coast somewhere in North America, but the West Coast, at least the Pacific Northwest, just doesn't have very many bugs compared to the East Coast. I lived on the East Coast and there's bugs everywhere. West Coast is fine. And honestly, they can't really get into this if the airlock is there. Not to I don't know. There is like a very strong, well, there's a somewhat strong fermenting smell if you have multiple brews going on. At least I do anyway. When I have multiple brews going all off all at once when I first start them. So let's say I do 2 brews in one day and I lock them away in the cabinet. And I need to sneeze. Hold on a second. Okay, no, I'm good. And then I open the cabinet and I'm like, oh yeah, something's fermenting in here. Like it's not a horrendous smell. It's just not the most pleasant thing in the world. So I guess bugs might go after something like that. I don't know, but I have not had an issue with bugs. All right, so let's get a reading on the mead and see what it is doing. Also tasting. At this point, the tasting is the more important thing. The reading, not so much. This is more so just out of interest. Because I back sweetened and added a little bit of water at the end, I don't actually know the exact alcohol volume or alcohol content of this. I have a decent idea, like within 1 to 2% kind of thing, but okay. So this appears to be floating a bit more than me. Do I need this anymore? Probably not. Okay, so what are we getting for an alcohol or a hydrometer reading here? This is mainly to see if it's kept fermenting while I left it in the thing for however many months I did. Okay, and it's looking like, I don't think it really did. The current reading is 1.012. I don't actually remember what the reading I took a month or 2 ago was, so let me just, I'll be right back. I'm going to go check. Okay, let me just double check the reading here. It is in fact, well, it's more like 1 point, yeah, no, actually it's 1.014. Okay. So my initial reading in January, early January, I think it was. It doesn't really matter when it was. Well, it kind of does, but anyway, it was a long time ago. Was 1.010. And for anyone wondering what the hell that means or wasn't here for the previous streams, that just basically means how much sugar is left in it. And the less sugar is in there means, it's been consumed by the alcohol or the yeast to consume alcohol. So the higher the reading, the more sugar there is left in there. So it was 1.010, which was, it's not like, it's like a slightly sweet kind of thing. Not like the sweetest, but it's not super dry either. It was kind of an okay number to be at. And then for flavor reasons, what I did is I added a bit more honey after that. And I didn't take a proper reading after that because it didn't really matter. So I estimated it was probably somewhere around 1.1 or 1.018-ish, like just as a pure guess. And currently it is 1.014. So if my guess was correct, it means it fermented like a tiny bit more, or maybe my guess was like slightly off. Like it's such a minute thing, it doesn't matter. And it just remained at 1.014 for the last 2 months, and it has not like fermented whatsoever. In either case, it's either fermented none, like it hasn't fermented at all, or it's fermented to such a minor degree that it's done fermenting and I don't even think about it, so this is done. Okay, so let's take a test. Taste test. Where's my shot glass? Okay, so where the hell's my shot glass? Did one of you guys steal my shot glass? Who stole the streamer shot glass? There it is. Camouflaged amongst all this glass and like plastic. Smells very nice. Many maths, kind of. It's very rough, but brewing potions. I mean, it'd be nice if these had magical properties. I don't know. Some might say alcohol does, but hello, Jack. Welcome. Okay, now that it's actually in a cup or this little glass here, on the nose, doesn't quite smell as much like the Cloudberry jam anymore. I think it was just a concentration that came out when I first opened it. It's still definitely there, much more so than other meads that don't have Cloudberry in it, but still has that. It's a very, very similar smell to my first mead. Outside of the Cloudberry, it's basically the same. Well, it's not true. The other mead had orange peel in it. I don't think I put orange peel in this one. I should have checked my notes better to see what all I put in this. But it basically smells like my old mead, or the previous mead, because I made a Methaglin in between. But my first mead and this mead smell very similar, with the difference of Cloudberry. That's literally it. Very kind of has a almost fruity sort of scent, even though there's not really fruit in it, unless there's raisin in it. But I guess it's just what happens when honey ferments. It kind of takes on sort of almost a fruit sort of smell, kind of a citrusy sort of thing almost. That is nice. Like the previous wine, there's actually still a bit of effervescence to it, so I'll need to degas this a bit. But unlike the wine, this has almost no bitterness to it. Wow, this is really interesting. I like this a lot. Wow. I'm struggling to describe it. Like it almost maybe has kind of there's berry and kind of jam in the background a bit, just slightly. What is that aftertaste? I've had this before and I can't describe it. It almost feels like there's a breadiness to it, which doesn't exactly get to it because that sounds just very dry and you're just shoving bread into your mouth. But it's almost like kind of almost like a sweet, bready kind of. It evokes the notion of a sweet bread almost, but it doesn't taste like one. I don't know how to describe it better than that. This is very strange. Yeah, when you first drink it, there's that again that mystery. It's half flavor, half mouthfeel, almost kind of thing. It goes away, and then once you're done, it comes back as a very strong aftertaste because that's all that's left. Maybe it's almost a nutty kind of flavor. What is that? It's something I think you would find in nature, kind of thing. I mean, just getting the feel of like forests. Somehow I'm connecting this with the forest, like something I would find and eat in the forest, like fresh nuts or maybe some kind of berry. Well, berry would make sense because it's cloudberry. It's just very strange. Buttery, maybe. It's certainly kind of very mellow and smooth and I don't know, but after I degas this, I'm gonna try this again, and if this gets similarly better, like the way the wine got better after I degassed it, this might be my favorite thing that I've made. So onward to the degassing process. See what it's like. Yeah. So it's my the fact that I can't describe it makes the show better. You see, if I was able to, I don't know, properly assess things better, it'd be a worse program. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very strange. Normally, I would be able to like pinpoint it a bit better, but this is just kind of like there's something in the past that I've had that is like this. It's not a common flavor or a mouthfeel, but it's something I have had. Maybe it was in like smaller doses, like whatever this is, but it was less pronounced than these other things. And this is like the first instance where it's been a very dominant flavor. Um, I'll keep thinking about it because honestly, that taste is still lingering on my tongue. It hasn't gone away. Very interesting because it's very complex. Like that's why all these things that we've sort of talked about thus far, like the sort of nuts and sweet bread and berries and just kind of general forest imagery, all and butteriness, and all just kind of plays into it. And none of that is wrong, but none of it is right either. All right, so that's dry enough, I guess. All right, down there you go. We'll move. Actually, this needs to go in first. Well, it doesn't need to go in first, but it probably should go in first so it doesn't disturb the liquid later on. There we go. Get out of the way. It's probably more stable if I put it that way. All right, how much lease are we looking at here? Not a lot. There's not very, it's like the wine. There's a very thin layer of yeast at the bottom of this. So long as we don't disturb it, we're going to basically get none of it. I forgot the cap. One sec. I don't think I really need the cap, but you know, just to be safe. A bit. Doesn't need to rest on the bottom the whole time. As we get more towards the bottom, then I'll rest this at the bottom. So basically I'm floating it, maybe, again, to use your guys' freedom units here, or some of you guys, it's floating about an inch off the bottom of the container, just so it's not sitting inside the yeast. It won't pick up the yeast really, but I'm less likely to disturb it if nothing is sitting on the yeast directly. So. Seems to be pouring quite smoothly. We're not getting any air in the tubing. Sometimes that can be a bit of a problem and it's kind of annoying, but seems to be going fine. We're more than halfway done here. So again, towards the end it slows down a bit. So we're halfway done. We're more than halfway done in terms of the liquid, but in terms of time, we're like, I don't know, we probably got like 2/3 of the time to go here. Just keep monitoring the hosing again to make sure there's no air getting in there. It has gotten in the past, and I'm not sure if it's because the liquid is too thick or because the seal between the hose and the auto siphon, or the tube in the auto siphon, wasn't, I don't know, properly sealed, but. Okay, so we're getting towards the bottom here, so now I gotta actually rest it on the bottom here, try not, whoops. So I was saying, try not to disturb the leaves, my hand slipped, but it's fine. It looks like it's pretty compact and there's not much of it, so I can kind of slide this diagonally to try and get as much liquid as humanly possible, because like I said, this stuff is really good, so I want as much as possible. That said, you know, you don't want to push it to the point where you're starting to get yeast in there, because the yeast is not tasty. So it's a balancing act. Do you want more liquid, or do you want, or rather, you know, you kind of got to balance like as much liquid as possible with the quality, because as soon as the yeast starts getting in there, it's going to lower the quality. And also you got to like just deal with a bunch of fuzzy crap on the bottom. Any kind of yeast that remains in here will eventually just, it'll settle to the bottom of all the bottles. So it's not like you have to drink them either, but then when you do that, it's like, well, I don't want to drink the yeast to the bottom of the bottle, so you don't end up pouring it all, and you just like end up wasting a tiny bit of liquid per bottle. So, like for example, the methacillin I'm currently drinking, there is a tiny, tiny bit of yeast at the bottom of each bottle. It's not a big deal, but I'm like, I'd rather not drink this at the end, so I end up like, wasting a couple milliliters sort of thing. Oh, right. We're still going to use this. So this has to just rest in here for the time being. Let's cram that guy in there. Okay, that should be fine. All right, we have ourselves roughly a gallon of Cloudberry Mead. And now for the degassing process. Go ahead and clean off the stir stick here. One of these days, I'm going to make a carbonated mead. I think that'll be quite interesting. So if I was going to make this carbonated, this process would be unnecessary because, we want it fizzy. But what I'm doing again, just like with the wine, just to explain what we're doing, is I'm remaining the little bits of CO2 that are still in there because that's what yeast produces. I mean, I think it produces some other things, I don't remember. But the main things they produce are alcohol and CO2. Most of the CO2 will just leave as you just kind of leave it sitting there. But there is still a little bit of kind of CO2 in there, which gives it just a hint of carbonation, kind of like you're drinking a flat pop. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it doesn't really add anything either, so I just want it out of there. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So what happened? I mean, scroll up. What happened on 5? Oh, 8 Thorindos. Actually, there's a bunch of stuff I missed. Mystery, the mystery flavor, yeah. Well, I'm still trying to figure it out. Mead kits, do I use one of those? No, I don't use any kits. I don't even know if I could buy a mead kit here. I guess I could probably buy one online, but that also sounds like it'd be expensive. Any kind of kit would just raise the price of anything I make. So, to me, that seems less fun too. Like, it's not like I'm sure it's not a bad thing. It's just for me personally, it seems like it'd be less fun for me if it was a kit. This feels more like I'm just, doing whatever and I can do whatever I want and there's no instructions. So, also, Thorindos, thank you very much. So resubscriptions actually do show up on here. So thank you very much. I obviously can't add things to the top of the screen and all that at the moment because I'm over here in my kitchen. But we'll get you added to the top of the screen later. Do appreciate it. Thank you very much. The mead hat, yeah, the do-rag thing keeps the hair out of, what I'm doing. I used to wear these when I worked in a kitchen, so I got a bunch lying around. That yeast is a bread starter. This yeast is most likely dead. I don't think this would be a very good starter. Some of it in there might be alive. Well, actually, no, it wouldn't be dead. I think it would be dormant. No, most of it's probably dead. There's also not very much in there because I've actually transferred this once or twice before. So that's just like the tiny, tiny remnants of mostly dead yeast in there. And containers do you have currently? Estimates in tens? Well, I could give you an exact count of what I have left. So I just made 4.5 bottles of white wine. This will probably make 4.5 bottles of mead, if I had to guess. I still have 2 bottles of methacillin. Well, one of them I just opened, but let's just call it 2. I have 1.5, let's say I have 1 bottle of red wine left, just slightly less than 1 bottle, and 1 full bottle of the original mead from way back when. So that's, what are we looking at here? That's 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's 14-ish bottles of stuff. What spice did I put in the methacillin? 1 stick of, like a stick of cinnamon. Was it 1 stick or 2 sticks? I think it was just 1. Yeah, it was 1 stick. 1 stick of cinnamon, 2 cloves, I want to say. I think it was 2 cloves and 8 allspice berries. The The metheglin is actually quite good. I was talking about it the other day, I think on Twitter, and there's a big splinter coming off this thing. Get it off there. The metheglin I left just sitting around in a bottle for a few months. Well, one of them. I drank 2 bottles, and I think I have 2 left, something like that. So the 2 older bottles that I haven't touched, I just opened a new one the other day, and the bottle that I've been slowly drinking has just been sitting in the fridge. So once you put something in the fridge, it stops any kind of flavor change or anything. It freezes it in time, basically. So the one that hasn't been in the fridge and sitting in the cabinet has continued aging in the bottle. And it got not much better, but it got noticeably better. I actually liked it quite a bit more. And I liked the original one. It was even tastier. So, yeah, it was good. Anyway, time to degas because this is a pain in the ass. I guess I should have saved some discussion topics for this process because this takes a little bit. See how it's fizzing up like that? Can you guys hear that? It's pretty loud. You guys probably can. So that's all the CO2 coming out of it. Yeah, this is going to take quite a few stirs here. And they'll taste better as you get more experience? Presumably, like I haven't made the same thing twice, so I can't really compare, like on an individual basis. I mean, so far to be like, because if anything I prefer is just going to be it suits my personal taste better. So thus far, I mean, I haven't really had time to assess these 2 new things, especially this one. Like, this one's not even done yet. But so far, my favorite has been the first mead I made, just because I liked the flavor of it, not because necessarily whatever I did was better than everything else. Like, from a technical perspective, everything I did subsequently has been better, but... Okay, so you guys can definitely hear the fizzing then, okay. This mic is, it actually picks up a lot of sound then. It gets loud, but... You know, it's not like me talking loud. But yeah, I'm quite surprised there's actually this much CO2 left in this, because like I said, this has been sitting around for, I want to say 2 months, maybe not that long exactly, but I don't remember when I even started this. Do you guys remember the last time I streamed this? Or because I streamed the entire process with this mead. So whenever I first started it, that would have been streamed. Was it? It was definitely either December or January. I want to say I probably started it in December, and then I like finally put it away to just sit around in sometime in January, but I'm not sure. But anyway, so like I said, anyway. The point is, it's been around for a while, and despite all this time, it's still fizzing up. All right. Greetings from England. Well, hello from Canada. What is your favorite food around the world that you wish to taste? Like, are you asking my favorite dish specifically, or because if you're asking my favorite or like culinary style or regional cuisine, or because all of those, like, no matter how you want me to answer it, it always depends on my mood more than anything. Because, like, I don't know, in terms of just like, I don't know, different foods from different countries, and obviously, regional variants, but if you want to just make it super easy, then, and just a general rule of thumb, foods that I tend to enjoy the most would be like, I mean, I'm Japanese, so I like Japanese food. Uh, I fairly consistently like Chinese food. Indian food's great. I like Iranian cuisine. That's generally pretty good. I just had some. I actually had some today. I really like Mexican food when I can get it. It's hard to get good Mexican food in Canada. Did I mention Indian food? Indian foods are pretty consistent for me. I don't know. There's just like all kinds of different cuisines from around the world I like. If you're talking about specific dishes, then most of the specific dishes that immediately come to mind that I like are Japanese usually, but there's some Chinese ones mixed in. I really like the Peking duck wrap things. Those are really good. This is what I don't like. There are not too many foods that I like, specific dishes that I don't like. There is no regional cuisine that I can think of that I don't like. Is white people food a cuisine? That's not fair. French food and stuff's pretty good. But anyway, I don't like natto. That's gross. And that's Japanese. It's fermented soybeans. What else is there? I don't like bananas. I don't like the mushy, sickly sweet texture. I don't like bananas. You enjoy natto? I don't think we can speak anymore. Nick, he might be a VIP, but I think you can still ban VIPs. It's fine. If you renounce your natto ways, it's all cool. I'll give you a bottle of something at some point after the pandemic's over. If it ever ends, maybe we'll get coronavirus 20 or something. COVID 20 after this. Let me scroll up. I'm missing chat here. Most beers, 3 days. Oh yeah, beers are generally faster to make. Yeah, these things have to sit around forever. And like I've read things about like meads and wines that ideally sit around for an excess of 6 months. I haven't even been home brewing for 6 months. Like if I'd been doing stuff like that, I wouldn't have even been able to bottle anything yet. Well, when did I start actually? I think maybe late October. Let's say okay, so November, December, January, February. Yeah, I've been doing this for 4 to 5 months, maybe 5 months. Can use a hand blender. I feel like that would mix in too much oxygen, which is not what I want to do. I just want to get CO2 out and not just like infuse oxygen into this thing. Minced beef katsu or hamburger steak. Yeah, those are both very good. I mean, that's essentially that's fusion, really, is what it is. It's like Japaneseified Western food, for lack of a better term here, but. Poutine? I don't actually eat that much poutine. Poutine's a weird kind of like fake nationalism food in Canada. It's okay. Like it's fries with gravy and cheese and stuff. It's like all these things are good. Honestly, poutine seems more like a thing that would be big in the United States than anything. I hear it's kind of catching on down there, but it definitely sounds like based on those ingredients, that's the kind of thing like that Americans would really go for. Not that Canadians wouldn't, but Peking duck wraps. The duck wraps are incredible. I have not had that for so many years. I need to go to like a Chinese banquet thing at some point. Jamaican jerk cuisine. I haven't had it that much, but the few times I've had it's been very, very good. Chankonabe? I don't. Chankonabe is like it's not a specific dish, but more just kind of a general idea. I think, isn't it? It's just like the sumo thing, and they just throw a lot of stuff in a pot. I'm not sure because I'm not a sumo wrestler, but COVID-19 Championship Edition. I'm still getting caught up in chat. Then we'll deal with this. Well, actually, hold on a second. Will I get caught up with chat? See, I stir and then I leave it, and I stir and I leave it. So. It's fizzing, it might not seem like it, but every time I do this, it's fizzing a little bit less, so it's working. Dash, you like tasting military rations? I have tasted military rations once when my brother was in, like, one of those scout type organizations. It was like the Boy Scouts. I don't think it was called. Maybe it was. I don't know what the hell it was. It was one of those things. And one time they got like Canadian military rations, and I remember it like not. And he brought some home, and like we all ate it. I don't remember it being horrendously disgusting. I just remember it just be like, okay, this is food. So probably lower on the end of things to me. There's not. Oh yeah, Greek food. I don't have too much Greek food. I kind of have to go on my way to get it. Whenever I have it, I can always recall enjoying it. Actually, no. You know what? I've had actual Greek food in Greece. I went to Greece once, didn't I? I didn't spend too much time in Greece. It was just like a couple of days. The best squid I've ever had. And I've had some pretty damn good squid because, I'm Japanese. But the best squid I've ever actually had was Greek. It was in Greece. It was in Thessaloniki, I think it's pronounced something like that. Northern Greece. And it was just like this, I don't know what the hell they did to it. It was like a grilled, like, it had a vinegary sort of flavor to it. And I personally, I like kind of vinegary flavors a lot. It was like this grilled vinegary kind of squid, and it was just really, really good. Yudofu? I know this is super common, but I prefer agedashi, personally. But, it's deep fried. Deep fried, these you like. Oh, Napolitan spaghetti? Yeah, it's kind of a sweeter ketchup-y kind of spaghetti, right? I used to make that periodically. I should make that again at some point. A shaved pot roast poutine here on your local pub. That's interesting. Shaved pot roast. That sounds pretty good. I'd eat that. All right, doing a quick stir again. Oh, I should probably mention, this is, I think, the least alcoholic thing. No, it's not true. It's the least alcoholic thing that wasn't the cider that I made. Because the cider was actually, because even the cider was pretty alcoholic. I think by the end, because there was extra fermentation process as a result of trying to get it carbonated. So that might have actually ended up being like 8 to 9%. But anyway, this is probably somewhere between 10 or 11%-ish. So it didn't quite get as alcoholic as all the other things I've made, which tended to range anywhere between 12 to close to 15%, I think, in the case of the Methaglin. Something was only 14 point something percent. I don't know if the jam or the Cloudberry jam inhibited something in the yeast, but it didn't get quite as alcoholic. I'm perfectly fine with this being, let's just say for ease, it's 11%. I'm perfectly content with this being 11%. It's interesting it didn't go quite as high. Pizza, but yeah, there's all kinds of, that's the thing, like, it's still trendy here, which is make all kinds of different types of poutine. For a while, it was getting pushed really hard, like all over the place. I want to say circa 2010-ish. I don't know, some kind of like I said, it's Canada's baby nationalism. Occasionally the country will pick up on like something that's called Canadian and just hammer away at it. And poutine was that thing for a while, but sometimes it's like It's the beer which people have finally stopped doing. I'm assuming that was like mostly a corporate thing because there's nothing really actually special about Canada's like just big brand beer. Um, we'll talk. Actually, let's talk about that because we got time. Um, I don't know how much of this bled down into the States, or well, I don't know where you guys live, but definitely in Canada. For I want to say when I was growing up, there was always like this thing about like, oh, Canadian beer, it's so great, it's not like that watery American shit, blah 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 blah. And this I was growing up, so I didn't really drink beer. I was like, I don't know, and I don't care. And I got older, and I started drinking beer, and then I'm able to assess this slightly better. And it's just no, the Canadian national brands, like the big ones, like your Molson Canadian and your blah blah blah, they suck. They don't suck quite as much as the big American brands that you just kind of can get in a grocery store in the States. But that's not relevant anyway. All you have to do is just buy better beer as opposed to not. You have the option to not buy Budweiser and Miller Genuine Draft and that garbage, no matter where you are. So it was just like this really weird taking pride in something that didn't matter. It's like our bottom of the barrel beer is better than your bottom of the barrel beer kind of thing. Just don't drink either. They both suck. So yeah. Not to mention, and this is probably one of the reasons. That's the thing, because I'm pretty sure this was just a corporate-driven thing, and like people in general didn't buy into this too much. If I had to guess, because it was really stupid. But it was a thing for years and years and years. But one of the things is like the really good microbrew stuff. There's really good microbrews in Canada as well, but just by sheer population and number, the United States is going to have more really good microbreweries. I want to say to this day, the best beer I've had was actually from an American microbrewery. It was Storm King Stout. I think it's from Pennsylvania. It was really good. And I've had something kind of close here. I don't remember where it came from, but it's called Singularity. I don't remember which brewery it is, but I think that's from BC. And that one's really good. The problem is it's like $14 a bottle. But I don't know what it is about Singularity. It's a Russian Imperial Stout. I can never remember the order of these things, which I would like to make one day, but I imagine it's very complicated because it's very high alcohol. Like it's wine class in terms of alcohol content. It's going to float around anywhere between I think 10 to 14% ish. So I think Singularity is about 12%, 10 or 12%, and it's a large bottle. So it's like drinking a bottle of wine. But I can drink I can't drink quite as much as I used to compared to when I was young. It makes me sound so old. But anyway, back in the drinking days, we'd sit around drinking bottles of vodka and then just throw up and then drink another bottle of vodka kind of thing. Don't do that, kids. That's not safe or good for you. But anyway, what the hell was I talking about? Oh, yes, Singularity. I don't know what it is. Maybe there's like drugs in this or something, but that is the only thing that I know of that gets me drunk quite quickly on that amount of liquid. Like a 750 milliliter bottle, or it's 650 or 750. It's like basically a wine-sized bottle of very, very strong beer. But it's something beyond that high alcohol content that for whatever reason it gets me drunk, and I don't know why. And it's not a one-off, there was something wrong with this bottle kind of thing. Every time I bought this bottle it does that, and I don't know why. It's not like I get hammered and I'm rolling around on the floor or something. It's just like it's like, oh wow, I can tell I've been drinking. I'm if I had a driver's license I would not be driving a car or that kind of thing. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be drinking on any kind, or I wouldn't be driving on any kind of alcohol, but you know what I mean, right? It's like I've definitely been drinking, and I'm not like massively impaired. I'm not going to go out and do anything stupid or start some kind of ridiculous conversation, but I can definitely tell I've been drinking, kind of thing. Anyway, moving on. Sukiyaki is wonderful, yeah. Yeah, it often contains. Well, sukiyaki. The good thing about sukiyaki is it obviously contains lots of things, but yeah, I really like mushrooms, and it contains multiple kinds of mushrooms. We got enoki. What's another one? Shiitake. What's another common mushroom for? Oh, oyster mushrooms go in there too, oftentimes. What is Napolitan spaghetti? It's I think it's unique to Japan. It was definitely started there. I'm pretty sure it was started there. Allegedly, I read the origin of this at some point, but I think it was made by some hotel chef. But it's basically just a sweeter kind of spaghetti where the sauce contains a lot of ketchup because it just makes it easier to make. Which sounds kind of gross, I know, but it's good. Often will contain like ham and onions and peppers and a bunch of like vegetables and stuff like that. So it's bastardized kind of Japanese spaghetti, really. Well, Japanese spaghetti, there's multiple kinds. There's wahoo spaghetti, which is more like kind of it's a soy-based sauce that goes into the spaghetti. That's also very good. And it often has like mushrooms and stuff in it. I haven't had that in years, but I would like to have it again. But Japan does some interesting stuff with pasta. Ketchup based, yeah, yeah. Feel all this fizz. Oh yeah, I should probably do that. Like pho. Yeah, pho's good. I don't have any major complaints about. Like I'll eat it. I like it. The only thing is like there's a direct comparison and anything kind of like soup, noodle and soup dish, right? And every time I've had pho and it's good, I'll just be like, it was good, but I would actually right now prefer to just be eating really good ramen instead. That's my take on pho. Which I'm sure enrages Vietnamese people, but pho's Vietnamese, right? Yeah, it is Vietnamese. Or preferred red meat. No, not really. Oh. I can't think of a type of meat I dislike. So no. We called animal fries. Someone mentioned to me, but instead of cheese and gravy, they put some sort of salad dressing. That I don't know about that one. Circus and fair food. Yeah, what you guys call, or you guys, but I think what in the States is called elephant ears, up here is called beaver tails. I'm pretty sure those two things are the same thing. And they're also called, I think, well, that's also fun. That's what a funnel cake, I think, is, right? It's like multiple words for the same thing. Make beer without those metal sealed containers they use at breweries. Yes. I could make beer with all the things I have at home right now minus grains. I would need to go out specifically to purchase grains, and then I'm pretty sure I could make alcohol or beer out of the things I have already that I make mead, cider, and wine out of. Good local stuff must be old. Wait, what? Jebdo, what are you talking about? I'm catching up way back from chat, so can confirm singularity is intense. Yeah, I wonder what the hell the deal is with singularity. It's weird. For Penwayster was really, yeah, I really like Singularity. I'll buy more at some point. High alcohol for, yeah, it's a Imperial Russian stout. They're very high alcohol content beers. Is my liver okay? I'm sure it's had years to recover. I have not done heavy drinking in a very long time. Not just because of pandemic and no one's out doing anything anymore. I just stopped drinking a while ago. Too old for that shit. I used to go out every weekend though and drink a lot. Fun times, but I've never had strong zero, incidentally. The year one too, but in Canada you get bread and mushrooms. Oh, yeah, mushrooms again. What are those that are usually thin and long and white, like usually in a bunch? That's enoki. Enoki dake. Yeah, like Felicia said, he's got it. Baoba? Oh, you mean like baozi? I think it's called. You mean like not smoked, steamed ones? Hot pots, yeah, hot pots are quite nice. Gravitate towards Southeast Asian soups. I haven't had a hell of a lot of Southeast Asian food in general. I've had obviously like Thai food and Vietnamese stuff, and I think I've had Malaysian food once. But generally speaking, I haven't had too much of it. I'd like to try more. Basically any kind, any region, culinary style that I've never tried before, I am willing to try. I would be more than willing. I would want to go out of my way to try it specifically. Just we have a limited amount of food we can eat or find. So Niku? I could go for some meat right now. In fact, I'm quite hungry. What the hell have I eaten today? I had a pizza bun, and then I actually had that leftover Iranian food. Hoppy beer. Poppy beer was kind of, I don't know. It's probably been on cooldown long enough that I can drink it again, but it was a bit ruined for me because basically through, I want to say, all of the mid 2000s, probably till about, I want to say maybe 2000, the early 2010s. So probably like 5, maybe 6 years, I drank nothing but like very hoppy beers and IPAs and did, I guess what ended up being kind of like a hipstery beer sort of thing. And I just kind of got tired of them. I really liked them at the time, but I just kind of overdid it. And since then, I've just been mostly drinking junk beer. And, well, actually, that's not true. And darker beers. To this day, I still like darker beers a lot. But maybe it's time to go back and try some IPAs and hoppier beers and see how they go. Brains for grains? The one nation's beer is better than another sounds old. I feel in the US and yeah, at least so much. Yeah, like comparing the national brands is rubbish. Katsuka, I could go for some Katsukare. I can't remember ever having specifically eaten uni. I'm sure I have at some point because I don't like I have a negative association with it, but I definitely have not eaten uni in certainly in the last 20 years. Also, oh, sorry, I'm getting caught up here. I just realized there is a raid. I just finally scrolled down to the bottom of chat and I just scrolled back up because I'm looking at this tiny little chat on my phone here. But Saint Tessa, thank you very much to the host. Is very much appreciated. Whatever you were up to on your show, sorry, I'm not aware. I'm busy doing stuff in my kitchen, but I hope you enjoyed yourself. I'm sure you put on a great show for your folks over there, and welcome. I'm just making some alcohol in my kitchen at the moment. Perfectly legal, mind you. But I'm just finishing up my Cloudberry Mead. My preliminary tastes before degassing it were very good. So I'm looking very much, I'm looking forward to doing a final tasting here and trying to explain that bizarre flavor profile because I was having trouble describing it. But like I said, I can't see the bottom of chat right now, so I get caught up with everything in just a moment here. Wait, strong zero out of a straw? Like I said, I've never had strong zero before, so. Well, that's the thing. Like any kind of alcohol you drink through a straw makes you drunk more quickly, I believe, isn't it? Because it's like something about it vaporizes the alcohol and you inhale part of it or something like that. It's been a while since I've thought about that kind of thing. Cold noodles. I like zarusoba or somen. Somen, zarusoba, any kind of skimming is very good. The cold noodles you dip into soup. Some noodles that have ice in them. Oh yeah, when with the any kind of in the summer like somen, yeah, you just put like ice on top to keep the noodles cold. Do I ever watch mukbangs? Not off the top of my head. I don't recall seeing one. Agnosticon, thank you very much for the 61 months. Appreciate it. So you guys probably can see in chat how far back I am. I can't quite tell. So I'm almost caught up, I think. But going hipster, is that a hipster thing? Making your own? Well, I think it's more like a cheapness thing, but not to mention it's very difficult to buy mead around here. If I want to drink my mead, I basically got to make it. Well, I guess I could go to specialty wine stores, but then I'm paying like 30, 40 bucks a bottle, you know. And to be honest, mine is better from what I've had of like commercially available meads. So. But thank you very much for the 61 months. I can't add anyone to the top of the screen right now because again I'm in the kitchen, but we'll do that once I get back, and hopefully things are going well on your end. Sure you stop and acknowledge it? I'll try it again at some point. Oh, right, Sakibaga, you changed your name at some point. Did you? Right, welcome back. Because, yeah, you stopped by, like, I want to say 6 months ago or something, and then you let us know that your name had changed. But, yeah, I'm making alcohol now. Oh, Viking still recommend me. Looks like a chill stream. Happy New Year. Thank you. Sorry it took me so long to get caught up to the bottom of the chat. I'm not normally on my phone streaming from my kitchen. I do things from my computer. So I apologize that took so long, but thank you very much for that, host. I do appreciate it. I'm probably still not caught up, but Viking, thank you for tricking Saint Tessa there into hosting my stream. You've been bamboozled. This is actually not chill. It's a terrible, terrible place. But it's too late now. Heating whiskey? It sounds like a waste of whiskey. At least use like junky, I don't know, vodka or gin or something. But I mean, I guess maybe I've really cheap whiskey. I don't know. Near me, no. If I go downtown, I can get yakitori. Yakitori is one of the few things. It seems so simple, but it is one of the things that you absolutely know the difference between getting it in Japan and getting it over here. I don't know what the hell they do with it over there, but yakitori is so phenomenally good in Japan. And no, places that are otherwise just have really, really good Japanese food here are not quite as good in the yakitori department. I don't know what it is, but you're not senile? Are you sure? The OG squad is here. I mean, some of the old people are here. Most of the old people who watch for League of Legends have long since fled because I rarely play that game anymore. But Hug, you're gonna smell like alcohol because I have like alcohol. Well, I guess I don't have that much. I've been pretty. If anything, you're probably gonna smell more like iodine because the sanitization fluid. You gotta keep everything washed and clean because you get the bugs and the alcohol and they'll ruin the alcohol. A league player. I mean, I still play it when I have to. Like if there's new content on the PBE or something, because that's what I do. It's my job, right? Um, oh, there's actually people watching the stream today. That's amazing. Because normally, no one is here unless I'm playing League. So, but well, okay. I mean, one message just pushed everything off of chat. Like I said, I'm dealing with this tiny little window on the phone here. I should get a second device so I can read chat a bit better. How often do you make your own wine, beer, alcohol beverages? For a while, I was doing it quite often. Then I got a little bit tired, so I've been slacking a bit. So this is actually, for the first time in about 5 months, I'm going to have nothing actively brewing once I'm done this stuff. Very soon, I'm going to make some grape cider. I think that'll be interesting. So that's probably going to be my next project. But in total, well, I can tell you how much I've made. I've made about 4 or 5 bottles of regular mead. I made about 4 or 5 bottles of metheglin, which is spiced mead. I made, well, about the same amount of red wine, about the same amount of apple cider, spiced apple cider, sparkling, incidentally. About the same amount of white wine, which is just finished, it's over there, and the same amount of Cloudberry mead, which we're just finishing up over here. So what is that? So 1, 2, I don't know, 20, I guess I've made 20, 25 bottles of stuff now. The grade of charcoal they have in Japan, I hear it's actually expensive. Maybe. Is the cooking process or just local? Oh, we're talking about yakitori again? It's probably, to be honest, everything. Food in Japan is phenomenal. It's part of Japan takes everything too seriously, basically, and that as a result, the quality of everything is wonderful. It is impossible to get a bad meal in Japan, basically. If you're used to just food from over here in North America or something, I never had a bad meal over there. But well, that gets into the whole something else. But yeah, if we're talking about food, food is just really good. The ingredients are great. The effort put into it is great, and just I don't know, the preparation as well. Everything is just good. I'm one of the old League of Legends watchers, and I still haven't found making content. Well, thank you very much, Sir Lancefew. Welcome back, I suppose. Thanks for still hanging about. Isn't quality charcoal wouldn't surprise me. Like that, like the whole take shit too seriously thing would probably be applied to the charcoal production industry or whatever. You know, alcohol isn't nothing. Right? Yeah, you're right. Because the states, the drinking age is like weirdly high. So whenever you first started watching, I guess you wouldn't have been legally allowed to drink alcohol because yeah, the U.S. is all weird. In fact, I had to like teach you how to use a microwave or something, didn't I? It's like what, 6 years ago or something. Oh, the warp pipes. Yeah, I remember those. Pants and underwear on every day when I go out. I forget that. I'll count yourself senile. Well, I guess I'm not. If that's the qualification, I'm not senile either. So that's good. Actually, agnostic on you're one of the few people around here that's actually older than me, aren't you? What's the alcohol I'm making? This is spellcasting. Cloudberry Mead. Now, Cloudberry is not the most common thing, and for the, I mean, I'm just going to keep assuming everyone's from like at least North America, especially given the time of day or time of night. But Cloudberry is basically the Swedish equivalent of, or not the Scandinavian equivalent of a salmonberry. Uh, So yeah, this consists of honey, water, yeast, cloudberry jam. I think I put raisins in there. I don't remember. I'd have to check my notes specifically. And black tea. Yeah. And it's been sitting around in my cabinet since about December. So it's been sitting around a good amount of time. And yeah, so that's what we're up to here. You were 17 when you started watching. God. So if you I've been streaming way too long. When people talk about like being around this channel for however long, it's like, God damn it, I've wasted how much of my life on this website? Have you ever had Jumai no you mean Nigorizake? Nigorizake is my favorite type, if you mean Nigorizake. You wrote Nogorizake, but I'm assuming Nigori. Oh, St. Tessa sending out gift subscription. Not only just hosting the channel, you're also sending out gift subscriptions. So thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Normally I get people properly welcomed in with like my sword and stuff, but that's over in the other room. And I don't know. I don't want to swing a weapon around when I have open alcohol. You'll have to take a rain check on that. So I apologize, but we'll get everyone added to the top of the screen and all that. Actually, could someone exclamation point bonus game, one word? And at least we can get that perk up there if anyone, if you're interested. So anyone like who either sends out a gift subscription or has a new subscription gets to take advantage of that if they like. So thank you very much once again. I do appreciate it. And Viking, congratulations on being the recipient of St. Tessa's generosity. Eaten that way. Eaten what? Oh, cloudberries? Yeah, I'd never eaten cloudberries before either. Incidentally, right before I purchased the cloudberry jam, I'd been playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And that's one of the things you loot off the ground and you eat them and they heal you. So I'm like, oh, it's the thing from the game. So yeah, you got the gift badge subscription thing. Congratulations. Turning 40 in April, and you're oh, right. I'm much older than 40, aren't I? Lettuce, Agnostigon, Tsunami, and you. Incidentally, you're all still around and alive. I was talking to Tsunami off stream the other day. Agnostigon's obviously here. Lettuce, I spoke to her the other day. She's around. Can you make drinks out of goji berries? You can make drinks out of pretty much anything if you want, I imagine. Would I make it out of goji berries? It's not a priority for me, but I imagine you could. Agnosticon, you're off for dailies. I don't know what those are, but have fun. Thanks for joining us. Any safety sacrifice? Yeah, I don't want to get banned. Well, I don't know. Do I want to get banned from Twitch? It'll finally get me to stop streaming. But you were back then. Oh yeah, the PBE stuff. Yeah, yeah. The dark times. You ever made honey mead? That's what this is. Now, honest to God, you're not paying attention. You really are senile. Jesus Christ. This is like that's what mead is, right? Unless you mean like literally just pure honey and nothing else, then no. I've always added something else to it. My first mead was closer to a pure mead, I guess, but that still contained black tea, orange zest, orange peel, whatever you want to call it, raisins, and did I say black tea? Yeah. So that was it, and then water and honey and yeast. But oh, there's the bonus game thing. Thank you very much, Ashita. We've definitely had cloudberries. They grow locally here. Well, cloudberry. Well, I've had salmon berries, obviously. Salmon, like that's why I said they're the Scandinavian equivalent of our salmon berries. Is my understanding. So yeah, he's got a dog now, doesn't he? Yeah. I have not touched Facebook in so long. I think never on there, but you were 16? 16 when? When you first started watching? It is possible. I've been streaming for... Well, actually, I've been streaming about 10 years now. Not always on Twitch. For the first year, I was on own.tv. But yeah, starting about 2012, I started streaming on Twitch. I don't know what that sequence of punctuation marks is there, but star sign underscore 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 star sign tilde? Is that a math equation? Are there other Chinese with health benefits like ginseng, ginger, and such? Probably. I'm not a Chinese alcohol expert. I've had one Chinese alcoholic drink ever, and it was because it was at actually King of Squid's house. I don't know. He can maybe answer that more. Doesn't meat require some type of wheat? No. No. If you make a combined alcohol, a grain alcohol mixed with a honey-based alcohol and ferment it that way, I think it's called a braggot, something like that. It's like a mix of beer, a beer-like substance, and a mead-like substance. I believe it's called a braggot. Or it starts with a B anyway. It's something like that. Your Insta is Morgana. What is it? Insta is an Instagram? Is that what the kids use nowadays? Wait, no, that's what the kids before the kids used, right? So like the old people use Facebook. In between people like me use God knows what, Twitter, I don't know. And then the people younger than me use like the Instagram, and then like the kids use the TikTok, right? So I don't know how that works. I appreciate you trying to get in contact with things, but I don't know what I don't even really know what Facebook or not Facebook, Instagram is. It's like a collection of pictures people post on a thing or something, right? But anyway, if anyone ever needs to get in contact with me, I'm always here. Or I mean, I have my Discord as well. But oh yeah, if anyone's interested in the Discord, exclamation point social media or exclamation point social. I think it's just social. I'll link everything at the bottom. But .tv, what? Made for the honey. That's a very difficult thing to assess from an archaeological perspective. I've heard people say honey is the first fermented drink, but I haven't really looked into it. Like, what are you classifying as an alcoholic drink at that point? Like something intentionally cultivated specifically to be alcohol, or just shit that incidentally fermented on its own in nature and then people would collect it in a semi-intentional way? Or some people, is it the first thing that people ran across that happened to be alcoholic? Because that wouldn't have been an even... Like that predates humans, period. Like monkeys get drunk off of stuff that just ferments incidentally. But specifically for things that people either collected or cultivated to ferment, to drink. Maybe it was a form of early proto-mead with honey. Like, I don't know how you would assess that exactly. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing that would leave around too much archaeological evidence. That seems more like inference to me, but I don't know because I've not looked into that topic specifically. It's certainly possible. It would make sense. Like, it would either be something fruit-based or honey-based, I would imagine, because going out of your way to do things with grains is like an extra step and blah, 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 so... Never drank for health benefits. I don't know, but that was what was that stupid thing we did? The hour of power was like a shot of strong beer every minute. That was pretty healthy, wasn't it? I'm a boomer. Technically, I straddle the line between I am the oldest possible millennial. Technically, if you go by the usual definitions. If I was like 2 years older, I'd be the youngest possible Gen X. Bragg is a mix of malt and honey. Hey, I was right. There we go. Scream of the void on Twitter. I mean, that's basically what everyone does on Twitter, I imagine. I don't think you're, too far off from what everyone else does. I'm not entirely sure what TikTok is, other than people post videos from TikTok on Twitter. There's the social thing. Thank you. You got to do the. I got to get other people to sell out for me because I can't do that. Oh, geez, you're right. That is not Twitter. It's probably a subconscious thing where I didn't want the underscore LOL added on the end of my name. I'll have to fix that later. Thanks for pointing that out. Yeah, if you want my actual Twitter, it's underscore LOL at the end. Wasn't it Viking? Are you talking about mead? If we're talking about general mead-like fermented honey alcohol, that has been made by pretty much every culture ever where there's honey available, because it's fermented honey. The meads are associated with Vikings, but you can go anywhere in the world and find a honey-based alcohol. Oh, the thing got deleted. Yeah, because there's another setting that just deletes links. They used to brew beer and mead with mushrooms. There. Oh, are we talking about like Norse meads? I've heard of different regions having different kinds of meads with potentially psychedelic effects. Yes. The one that comes to mind was there was one in, I think, Brittany, somewhere in northern France, where something about the honey might contain toxins still from the bees, which gives it like a mild psychedelic effect. I don't know the truth of this or how accurate this is or whatever. That's simply something I read a while ago. And there was a couple others I was reading. Oh yeah, there was the other one. A very similar honey that's collected somewhere in, where the hell is that? I want to say somewhere in Southeast Asia. The one where you got to like climb down the edge of hanging off of these vines, and you go down these cliffs, and it's like really dangerous to collect this honey. I'm sure maybe honey fall under the drink mix of malt or something, and some drank it and said, "Oh, are you talking about the Braggot combination?" You're like, oh, I don't know. It's very hard to assess who first mixed a beer-like alcohol with a honey-like alcohol. Like, I don't know. It's like people have been doing shit like I've been doing now for thousands of years. Like, they're sitting around, they got ingredients to experiment with, and one day someone came up with a beer honey alcohol mix thing. I'm like, hey, this is pretty good. And then, we shared it, and some other people did it. And then 7,000 miles away, someone completely unrelated also came up with the exact same thing. And they both spread around the world. No one can tell who made it first because, Yeah, I don't think we lasted the full hour, did we? Well, I don't know. I feel like maybe we did. I don't know. It was close, at the very least. Hello, the beer Jesus. Welcome. Sounds like you'll fit in right here. We got no beer, I suppose, but you can represent the beer pantheon while we, or at least I, deal with the mead. You're the oldest possible Gen Z. It's interesting straddling that line kind of thing, at least from like a technological perspective. I don't know about any kind of subsequent generation, but I know from like, again, from a technological perspective when you're growing up in the environment kind of thing, my growing up experience would be significantly different from the youngest possible millennial, because I come from a time essentially was from. I mean, this obviously differentiates, based on the region where you're from and all, et cetera, et cetera. But because I grew up partially in like a pre-internet world, and there was a transitional period while I was I was old enough to be conscious of this transition. Um, and so things are just very, very different now. So like I'm essentially the last group of people, the last of a generation that would have experienced growing up in a much older style world. And obviously, it's not like I'm going to be the same. My growing up experience is going to be the same as someone growing up like the 1920s or something. Like clearly, that's different. But the addition of internet and computers and everything is such a massive transition to everything else. Like to know something before that is actually kind of a little bit interesting. And I like consciously recognize and remember it. Yeah, the honey, cliff honey. It was Nepal? Okay, it wasn't quite Southeast Asia. It was sort of close. It was Asia. Well, I mean, I don't know because that's the thing, right? These generational distinctions, like they're not hard set things. They're a bit fluid. Because for example, I've seen the millennial thing say the cutoff point is 93. So, I mean, these aren't laws. So. Yeah, like these are always just changing, and like it depends on who you're talking to. So if you're kind of close, it's just like, you're probably either. So that's why, like, again, from an experience perspective and just like growing up and things I've experienced, that's why being the earliest possible millennial, not that these, categories really mean anything, but from a generational perspective and things you could at least experience in the environment and how you perceived it, that's why, like, I would have experiences similar to Gen Xers kind of thing. But at the same time, also, more experiences that would be typically associated with that millennial group kind of thing. You're Gen Z? Gen Z people, I'm gonna ban all you. No kids in here. This is alcohol. Which reminds me, this shouldn't be sitting here this long. Okay, screw you. You guys are trying to ruin my alcohol here. I'm gonna go deal with this now, and I'm gonna ignore you guys for a few minutes, and then I'll get caught up in a minute. All right. Like this legit actually shouldn't be sitting out this long. This is one of the dangers of streaming while doing this. Okay, this might be okay now. We're gonna take a quick taste. Have I washed this? No. Are you in the United States? All right, you can stay then. That's fine. Well, drinking age is technically, what is it? What's the drinking age in Canada? Does anyone remember? Is it 18 or 19? Actually, it varies by province to a degree, I think, doesn't it? Like, I think Quebec might be a bit earlier, but you're 24. Sorry, no, you gotta go. That's too young. Alberta was 18 when you left. Quebec. Oh, Quebec is actually higher. I thought it might be lower. Okay, so I'm gonna guess BC is probably it's 18 or 19. It doesn't matter. No one starts drinking exactly at the legal whatever age anyway. All right. We use the tricks I learned from whiskey snobbery and try and describe what's going on here. Okay, on the nose. Unfortunately, it's slightly masked by the iodine smell from washing this. But I'm still getting, I'm still definitely getting the cloudberry. It's coming through pretty clearly still. Again, what I can only describe is that basic honey, fermented honey smell, because it's the same as my first mead, where it's like it smells very fruity and citrusy, almost like kind of a fruit punch. But I guess that's just what honey does, because there's nothing really else to produce that kind of scent. But yeah, unfortunately, the iodine is covering up a bit too much. But let's give it a taste. Short sip. Okay, the effervescence is largely gone. I might give this a few more quick stirs, but yeah, it needs a little bit more. With the effervescence largely gone, I'm getting more of the sweetness from the cloudberry, like initially, just like there's an upfront sweetness to this. In fact, this is possibly the sweetest brew I've made, which makes kind of sense. I don't know. It's the least alcoholic non-cider thing I've made at about 11%, but it's not like it has an especially high gravity reading. I think it's just literally that the cloudberry, it's providing just a very distinct sweetness to it. Not just sweet, it's like I said, a distinct berry-like sweetness to it. And there's still that indescribable, some kind of overarching flavor that I don't know what it is. It's, again, it just evokes an image of forests. It's something from a forest that you would eat, and I don't know what it is. And I don't think the answer is as simple as just, oh, it's berries, because it's that and something else. It's like nuts and berries, which doesn't make any sense because there are no, like, where the hell does the nut flavor come from? Somehow, again, it's got this kind of buttery, sweet, bready overtone to it. It's not like a direct thing. It's just kind of almost like it's hovering over the whole affair here. It's very good though. It just needs to be stirred up a bit more to get out the remnants of the effervescence. Because again, it's like the yeast produces CO2, right? So the CO2 is just in there, and I need to get it all out. Because apparently, just leaving it sitting there, it won't leave. So I gotta get rid of it manually because it's been sitting there 2 months and it's still there. Beyond that, yeah, that mystery flavor mouthfeel thing. It's strongest in the aftertaste. It's always there, but every other flavor just leaves, and that's the one thing that lingers. It's like it's been a while since I've taken a sip, right? It is still there. You have the same weird rules I have. We can go to a pub and get hammered at 18, but we can buy but no. Um, I remember the drinking age in Sweden being really weird when I was there many years ago. Like it was 23 or something like that. Like I was 19 at the time and I could drink in Canada, but I couldn't drink in Sweden. I mean, I still drank, but or no, I didn't. I never did anything illegal. Um, I was in fact 23 when I was traveling. But yeah, no, there's no basically. There's a legal drinking age everywhere. It's just like if you can buy alcohol in a store, you can drink it in a pub. It's a flat thing. It's special treatment to stay here since you're. Yeah, I mean you know both me and Paris, so it's just like extra special treatment on multiple counts. Smells like Capri Sun. I don't remember what Capri Sun smells like because honestly, I've probably only drank that once or twice in life at all. Pectin in the jam might protect from sugars from fermentation. Maybe. That's what I kind of figured because this again it fermented well, but it didn't ferment quite as well as other things. But at the same time, I didn't add quite well. I didn't add so much in terms of sugars for the yeast to consume at the beginning that it's not like it's massively sugary. This, like I said, its gravity reading was 1.014, which might not mean anything to many people. But to compare that to my original mead, I think it's about the same. They were very similar in terms of their end gravity reading. Um, I think the metheglin is technically sweeter, but it's harder to tell because there's so much spice in it. Hit the hay, you say? Well, thanks for stopping by. It's always a pleasure to have you. Right, should I stop using your old name? Because I gotta like, I still gotta input the new one, but I can go with Morganime, if that's what you prefer nowadays. So thanks for stopping by, and maybe we'll see you again sometime in the next year. Being 20 minutes a long time unless you go to a pub restaurant. Well, I was in Sweden in like 2004 or 5 or something. It was a long time ago. Probably make a easy small beer. I mean, I could make any kind of any kind of beer. But I could make a beer relatively easy. The problem is, I would have to do those extra steps and buy like at grains. I would have to go out of my way to get that stuff. So I'll do it at some point. It's just hopefully soon. I'll definitely make a beer at some point. Well, I'll probably make a beer at some point. You want me to shorten the name to Sakyu? Okay, I can. That's awkward because I always used to pronounce your full name. But yeah, I can just say that no one will know who I'm talking to. It'll be brilliant. Is there a consumer device level to measure alcohol? Yeah, this thing. This is how I can get the alcohol rating. I just fill it up and it'll tell me then I got to like do some calculations. If you're talking about something that'll automatically, you put the thing into it and it says this is the alcohol volume, then yes, I think you can buy something like that, but it's quite expensive. Only spice I got in alcohol is Fireball whiskey. It's interesting. Well, I mean, I guess it's the common point that people will know. It's the metheglin, the spiced mead I made, is vaguely similar, obviously, to I mean, it's got cinnamon in it, so it's going to be similar to Fireball to a degree. But the thing is, I don't really like Fireball. My metheglin I like because it's less spiceful, and it has that meaty goodness to it. It's very pleasant. It's not like that overpowering. This is like it's cinnamon and sweet and kind of that sickly sweet kind of Fireball sort of thing. It's just pleasant to sit there and drink. So I'm actually very, very pleased with my metheglin. Shochu requires distillation, so no, I cannot. Not legally. and I'm not really interested in distilling. Not just because I'm not allowed to do illegal things on Twitch, but it's just like that's a whole other thing. Like for, brewing is one thing. It's I don't know what's a good comparison. It's like what is an analogy? If brewing is Heroes of the Storm, then distillation is like a really complicated RTS. Also, you can potentially make poison while distilling. So I'm just like, it's fine. I'm cool with my mead. I like mead. I'm not, if I want whiskey or something, I'll go out and buy it. This is actually still fizzing up quite a bit. It's going to take maybe more than a few stirs here. Like this is so close to being really, really good. I want to do this part right. So do it in short bursts. Will I play Diablo 2 Remake? Probably not, because I don't play Blizzard games anymore. Me and Blizzard had a personal disagreement. The brew doesn't require yeast. What? What doesn't require yeast? What are we talking about here? All right. Whoops. Move that there. All right, we'll do that maybe 2 or 3 more times. We'll be good to go. Try as taro vodka. Sounds interesting. I'd certainly try it. How do you make something like that sparkling or carbon like you make sparkling wine? By allowing the fermentation to continue after you sealed off the vessel. So basically, so when you ferment something, right, it's creating the CO2. And when you're fermenting it, normally there's a vent for it to get out of, right? If you seal it off and just force the CO2 to stay in the liquid, then it'll carbonate. So for example, the one carbonated drink that I did, well actually I made 2, but let's use the actual alcoholic example. Even though the other one, like when I streamed it when I made kvass. That's the same thing, but same process. But when I made the cider, what I did is after it was done normally fermenting, or what I did was I allowed it to ferment until it went totally dry. So I didn't put a lot of extra sugar into it. I think it was just pure juice. And then I put very, very hearty yeast that had a very high alcohol tolerance in it. I used champagne yeast. That's what it's for. And it consumed all the sugar in there. And it just went totally dry, and it just sat around for a while. And after a while, after it been sitting in there conditioning for a while, I put it into this container here, this one specifically. I added sugar in, and then the remaining yeast, which was just dormant, waiting there for essentially more food, they reactivated. And then I would put all this stuff in bottles and then seal the bottles off. And then since they've started fermenting again, because there's sugar to consume, they start releasing CO2, but the CO2 is trapped inside the liquid because there's nowhere for it to go, and then it carbonates. It'll actually become very, very carbonated. In fact, the kvass I made is one of the most carbonated things I've ever drank. It was like super carbonated. And yeah, so you just have to be careful because if it overcarbonates, then the bottle explodes. That's why you get specific bottles designed to hold carbonated liquid. And even then, eventually, if they overcarbonate, like you just leave them forever, or you put too much sugar in there or anything like that, then they'll just blow. So that's the one thing you got to be a bit careful of if you're making when you're fermenting or when you're brewing. Could I make sparkling wine? Yep, I could. I haven't done a high alcohol sparkling beverage yet, but theoretically I could if I use the champagne yeast. Technically, I could even do it with the regular bread yeast that I'm using. It's just a bit harder. I would have to finagle it a bit more. Oh, yeah, I think you mentioned that. He made bottle bombs, right? Basically, because yeah. That's why, at least when I make it, when I make carbonated beverages, I have one plastic tester bottle. So I fill all the bottles up with the same liquid, right? So they should theoretically be carbonating at the same rate. So I'll get a like a plastic Coke bottle, and I'll fill up one of those with the carbonate. Well, I'll fill, for example, the cider, and then I just keep squeezing it every a few times a day just to see how carbonated it is. And once like there's massive resistance there, and it's like okay, I can't really push it in easily anymore. That means I know it's very carbonated, and I need to. Well, at that point you can pasteurize them. Pasteurizing is a pain in the ass, and I don't want to do it. So I just stick things in the fridge at that point. Because once you put them in the fridge, that means the yeast goes dormant again, but it means they can't come out of the fridge again until you actually drink the thing. But I suppose if the power went out or the fridge broke, then you'd have to drink everything all at once. But it's a good thing I didn't have anything like that in there, because about a few weeks ago, my fridge actually broke. But had to get fixed. But anyway, yeah, you can put it back in the fridge, and then it stops, and then it's fine. But this is still fizzing. Good time to probably maybe rinse this out, because I got to take another taste testing. Carbonate alcohol? I mean, that's pretty common. It's like all beer. So that would probably make carbonated alcohol more common than non-carbonated alcohol. What is your... Stormbloods, could you rephrase your question? I don't know what you're asking. Introduce nitrogen bubbles? I would prefer not to introduce anything into this, but yeah, I mean, we're going to get oxygen in here. To some degree. But at this point, this is at the very least in excess of 10% alcohol, so it's very unlikely to turn into vinegar at this point. Because that's what happens. Like you introduce oxygen into these sorts of environments, that's how you get vinegar. So. But that's more of an earlier in the fermentation process problem, typically. Allegedly. I don't know, I'm just reading things and, spouting them off like I've experienced accidentally creating vinegar or something, but... be honest with you, probably kind of cool to actually have some honey vinegar around. I mean, that's not a particularly common thing. Oh, you mean like those, like the nitro infusion things like they have at Starbucks? I don't know enough about that. Like in breweries, I see people stirring the beer with long sticks or mash paddles when it's in those giant. Oh, if I had, I don't know specifically, but because obviously what I'm doing is a bit different from breweries, even if the general principles are the same. That's probably to oxygenate the brew at the beginning if it's just like a mash. Because the thing is, you want oxygen to get in early so the yeast has oxygen to work with. Because the nitrogen, or the nitrogen, damn it, it's not nitrogen, Mike. Um, the CO2 that they release actually kills, well, either kills them off or makes them go dormant or something, but it's not good for them. It's basically like they're swimming around in their own shit if there's nitrogen, or not nitrogen, goddamn it, CO2 in there. Um, so but they need oxygen to like get going. So you mix them. Early on, you mix things up. You get a lot of oxygen in the brew, and that helps the yeast to just get going. But after that point, you don't want more oxygen in there because then the oxygen gets in there with the alcohol and starts creating vinegar. So. That's looking pretty good. It's not bubbling nearly as much anymore. Also, my phone is probably going to run out of battery soon. I got to speed this shit up. If you have local wines, make excellent cooking wines. Oh yeah, I mean I got old wines and stuff used for cooking lying around in the house, but grape vinegar, what? Fungus? Did I miss something about fungus? What's going on here? Could you make vinegar from mead though, since it's temperature that should stop it from turning into vinegar? Allegedly you can. I've read you can, but mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing. Like, even though it's antimicrobial, that's why honey is actually not great for yeast, but you can still turn it into alcohol. So, oh yeah, it's nice and smooth. All the effervescence is gone now. That is wonderful. Mm. It initially hits you with that kind of cloudberry sweetness. Kind of just turns into more kind of a general mead in the middle, and then the finish is definitely just that, again, that mystery forest taste. Again, I don't know how to describe beyond that, but that nutty, bready, buttery, berry like something. This, I don't know. I'd have to sit there drinking like a glass of this to really assess how I like it overall. This might be my favorite thing. It's really good. So let's bottle it. In fact, I'm actually gonna maybe get a thing so I can plug the phone in so it doesn't run out of, I'm gonna plug it in so I don't run out of batteries. I'll be right back. That's a problem. That's not gonna reach. Not even close. All right, we'll just have to be quick and hope the batteries don't run out. Stop by before bed and say quick hello, has everything well, and continue to catch the stream and time. All right, Juicy Jams, thanks for stopping by. Best of luck with the sleep thing. I'm going to ignore you guys for a minute because I gotta speed up. I'm basically, if we're gonna watch the end of this whole thing, I gotta go fast because we're gonna run out of batteries probably in the next 20 minutes. Alright, I'm working at normal, I'm not streaming kind of pace. Because this takes, like on stream, it takes like 3 to 4 times longer than it normally would. Alright, trying to catch up really quickly. Kool-Aid? No, actually, I don't know, do I have Kool-Aid now? Actually, I do. There's Kool-Aid powder in the cabinet there. Start with that bottle. Alright, the last stir. Maybe I'll put all of these down here, ready to go. probably going to need this one, we'll see. Okay, good, we got a nice seal. This should flow in relatively easily. I don't see any oxygen bubbles getting in the way. There's bottle number one, fills up nicely, perfect. Now for the fancy rectangular bottle, the X tequila bottle. Alright, gets out of the way. So. Alright. One's going to look very fancy. Just trying to judge the amount of liquid going in here. I think we're going to have enough, yeah. That last bottle might be a partial, I'm not really sure. In fact, I might fill it up first. Actually, yeah, Blind requested a bottle of this specifically, so I'll probably give him one in one of these. So we'll reserve that one for him. I gotta get it to him somehow, though. I don't know how we're gonna do that. I mean, it's not like it's gotta be immediate. These things can sit around for a while, and it's fine. But this one seals up really nicely too, so it'll be perfect to give away. These I bought specifically the Grosh bottles for carbonated beverages, but yeah, like I said, they seal up very nicely, and the liquid, they're just designed to hold carbonated beverages. I do believe if it overcarbonates, just the gasket gives out and the glass does not blow up. So. Go. Am I gonna have enough of that last bottle there? We'll see. No, we should. I think we're good. There's a lot of stuff I should probably move out of the way. Oh, I see the problem. The shape of this bottle makes it difficult to push the thing down. There's like a... This is actually really annoying. There's like a glass thing in the middle that prevents the little the spring from pushing down. This would have been easier if it was the first bottle. For the last bottle, I gotta like I gotta very carefully keep the spring pushed down with my left hand or my right hand, and I gotta tilt this thing with my right or my left. And I also gotta narrate what the hell I'm doing to you guys. Well, because I don't have to narrate, but. All right, there we go. Damn, that's good. That is good stuff. All right, seal this one up. All right, nice and tight. We will put this one away. My phone has not died yet. That's good. Let me cap this stuff off here. Now look at that. Doesn't this look like... I guess it looks more like a giant perfume maybe, but it looks nice, doesn't it? This bottle might give you a better indication of the color here. It's completely, very well, very translucent, yeah. So, I don't know, yeah, this stupid thing down here, this was like making it really annoying to pour the, or get the liquid in the bottle. And so this one is a bit harder to get the thing down, so I'm gonna do it over here. All right, there you have it. 1, 2, 4. 4 and 1.5 is another one over there, but for my purposes, 4 wonderful bottles of Cloudberry Mead. It's got a big piss color to it, I suppose. It looks really fancy in this bottle because it's got like a smoky glass thing with like the painted on like white. Actually, someone was talking about Nigorizake before. This bottle used to hold Nigorizake. Uh-huh. I'll be back in a sec. Do people just not even try anymore? It was very, very sad. Anyway. Like it's not the quote trolling part that gets people banned. It's the pathetic attempts at it. Like, it's like, Jesus, this is sad. Go practice somewhere else before you come here. I have appreciation for the art. Anyway, hey, Ben, who wants to? Want to have a drink together? I don't know. When does the pandemic end? We all get vaccines, and I'm allowed to. Well, because you live in the States, right? If you mean like the alcohol I'm brewing, I don't think I'm allowed to bring it over the border. But anyone who knows where I live and can make it to my house can have a bottle of alcohol. Then there was I gotta be careful around the border. Like the border people don't like me as is because my streaming job thing, and it's probably maybe a bit better now. But back when I started, it was still like the frontier. Like no one did this shit, and I was going over the border and stuff like a lot. So they were like, "What are you doing? And are you working in the United States?" And I actually got well, I didn't get denied entry. I was allowed to withdraw my voluntarily withdraw my entry to the states. And for years after that, they would always like I would have to get the extra screening. I would go to the other room, and then I'd sit there for a while, and then nothing would come of it, and they would just go, "Okay, go." And this was, but anyway, where do I live in Canada? Yeah, the border people just don't know what to make of, I guess, streaming as a living, or at least certainly they didn't. Um, so the idea is like theoretically I could work anywhere, and they don't like that. Anyway, but yeah, Benji wants to. Hello and welcome. So that's that. I'm done. I guess I need to technically label my alcohol. Does anyone know what time it is? Pacific time, Pacific Standard Time, Pacific Daylight, whatever the hell it is. Pacific time. I check on 10:30. Oh damn. I guess am I just done streaming? First time I had to drive through the border. Yeah, border. Just any kind of like cross-border relationship thing and anything is just it's annoying. Very annoying. Um, yeah, no, we're not doing that. No, no league. I was vaguely considering Loop Hero, but TwitchCon, sure thing. If I ever have any money again and and I can go to TwitchCon, and we don't get Pandemic 2, that sounds like it'd be cool. Unfortunately, I won't be bringing alcohol with me, so that's probably like 50% of the benefit of ever knowing or meeting me, and so that's already gone. So the only thing you have to deal with is me. But there's a lot of cool people at TwitchCon I meet every time I go there. Like I said, one of these days I'll try and go to TwitchCon again, but. Didn't understand. Oh, the border thing. Yeah, the border people are. Some of them are fine. Sometimes I feel like they don't hire the most astute individuals to have graced this planet. But I think sometimes they like hire that guy who was whatever the hell he was typing. I didn't actually read it. I saw like maybe 2 words, and it was like none of this. The rest of this is worth reading. Anyway. I don't know. Is there anything you want to talk about with the brews that we've done here? So I don't know. For comparison's sake, let's try comparing the color. Let's see if there's any difference at all. And I don't want to mix them up because they'll actually get really confusing. And I have to open them again. I don't want to do that. This is the mead. This is the white wine. Can you guys tell the difference? I actually cannot. Like, they are literally, well, not maybe literally the same color, but they're basically the same color. So let's keep these separated. This was a mead, right? When they're further away, it almost seems like the mead is a bit darker, but when you bring them up close, they're like the same. Did I make those? You mean the alcohol in them? I didn't make the bottles, but... Yeah, I just finished making those. These were like, I don't know, 3 months in the making, I think. Something like that, 3-4 months. This is Cloudberry Mead, so honey-based alcohol. The other one is just traditional white wine. And they're finally done and ready to drink. So I'm quite pleased with the results. And I still have a huge backlog of alcohol I already made, so that's got to get drunk at some point. I'll probably, I don't know, get a piece of tape and just write something down on it. I'll just make labels, I think. Worst case scenario, yeah, I have sticky notes that I can just like stick onto the bottles if I don't have anything else. Storage room. I don't actually know if I have room to store these even. We'll see. I've never had this many bottles of alcohol in my house ever, actually. Because now I'll have 9, 10, 11. I think I have like 15, including open ones, about 15 bottles of different types of alcohol to deal with now. Homebrew specifically. I actually have a couple bottles of whiskey over in the other room, but save it to my phone? That seems like a pain in the ass. I mean, basting it on the bottle. The thing is, I could remember. I could memorize it, but I really don't want to. We're dealing with limited hard drive space at this point. I've been around for a while, so yeah, I've got like really just dumb shit floating around the back of my head. Like, I don't know, the lyrics to Linkin Park songs I've never actually listened to and stuff like that. Yeah, so I guess I'll just cut it off here unless anyone... Did I miss any kind of subscriptions, resubscriptions, any sort of donation type, like anything like that at all that I just didn't see because I was busy doing stuff and I'm on a phone here?